Alright, again, for the recording people, sorry I set the alarm for the wrong time. Here's my Facebook thing. If you had planned on coming to this and I messed you up for starting at the wrong time, it's 1:45 now, actually, hour and 45 minutes late. Facebook message me your question, or I might possibly do another session later this week. I'll talk to David Mills, see how many questions we get. Alright? Again, sorry about that. I'll make sure my alarm's set right next time. Okay, so let me get a screenshot of these questions. Just 3 questions so far. Again, I kind of messed up by starting late, but I wanted to at least get something in. Alright, Ganesh, the first one. How do I target ranking different keywords for a site? What determines the keyword that will be ranked? Is it URL and anchor text? I mean, there's a lot to determine what ranks a keyword, but the biggest things are the URL, the title, and the anchor text. And then after that, it would be what's in the content and the authority of the site and stuff like that. Lately, actually, the keywords in the content has been more important. If you have like keywords in the title and anchor text and URL, but you don't have it anywhere in the content, you're gonna have a lot of trouble ranking now. They made that change, I think a couple months ago, where you have to have the keywords in the content as well. So I mean, there's little things like that, but the most powerful is the URL and anchor text, and then after that's title, and then as long as you have the keywords in the content a couple times. Okay. So but the biggest thing is the combination of the URL and the anchor text, and then what I do is I usually like to put the keywords in the URL, and then some type of way in the URL, whether it's the domain or an inner page. And then for the title, I try to use an LSI version of that. So, if I'm using like electronic cigarette brands in the URL, then I might do like e-cigarette companies or something like that in the title, or e-cigarette. I could do e-cigarette brands as well, and just do a synonym for electronic cigarette, for e-cigarette for electronic cigarette, and then use brands same. But you can kind of play with that, and titles are really easy to change. You can change your title and see how it affects you once you change it. From Danny Volts here. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Still go after affiliate products, Danny. Absolutely. I've been setting up tons of new sites the last month. From Kurt. Ooh, probably not Kurt. Probably not. Yeah, I would say that would definitely look fishy. I did had something where I did that, and there was like a change with optimization for anchor text and URLs, and I went in and changed a whole bunch of PBN links, like just changing the anchor text for them, and they all like fell off the map totally for like 4 or 5 months. So I'd be very careful of that. You might want to do it slowly and possibly take down the old links and put up new links with new content. Because if you just go in and change the anchor text, that's definitely uh, a spam flag for Google. And I've seen it firsthand. So be very careful with that. If you're going to use them still, I would actually go in and change the content, add new content, put the link in a different place, to the new site. All right, just to be safe. All right, so we had a few more come in here. From Ganesh. Oh yeah, I mean that's common. Ganesh, 2 weeks for a brand new site is that's very new. It's taken longer for new sites to rank now. They're not gonna. A lot of times they're not gonna rank a brand new site at the very top. It depends. I mean, if you get a lot of social stuff going, it's possible. Like build out a Facebook and a Twitter and a Google Plus, and start kind of sending links to those and building like authority around your social. That is something that can actually rank sites a lot quicker now. But without that, like that whole package, which takes a whole lot more work, it takes a little bit longer to rank and gain that trust. All right, so page 5 after 2 weeks actually is pretty normal. From Ganesh. I mean, you want to keep all the same general rules, Ganesh. I've never really done an e-commerce site, but I know they can be short on content, so just follow all the same general stuff, like keyword and URLs and titles, and mix up the anchor text the way we do it and all that. But for the content, just be careful with not having enough content. Because I know a lot of e-commerce stores they'll list just like the products, and they won't have any content. So at least have like descriptions for your products where you can get some keywords in there. Because again, if the keywords aren't anywhere on the page, it's very hard to rank for it now. So I mean, you're pretty much doing everything the same. It's a little different because it's an e-commerce site. Outsource product reviews for affiliate products. I have never done it, Roberto. You might want to ask that in the Facebook group. I don't have experience with outsourcing that. I know people who have outsourced like actual products. Like they'll build a product, have someone else write it, then of course it'll be their product. But as far as outsourcing product reviews, I am not sure about that. I've never I've never done it myself. I mean, I'm sure there's something out there for it. Absolutely. You could always hire a VA to buy the products and give you like kind of like the rundown on them, like an outline, and you can use that and either review it yourself after seeing the outline or have them review it. But other than that, I don't know of any like tried methods. From Susan. Deleted domains for PBNs are fine. They still have it's all about the links. Well, not all about, but a lot of it's about what links are going to the site. Of course, age can help, but most of it I would say is from the links. Deleted domains do not retain their age, and again, age is better to have, but I think most of the juice comes from the links. So, but yeah, you can use deleted domains soon, Susan. Make sure no one messaged me in the Facebook group. Actually, let me just put that right link in there. Okay, cool. Alright, so let me get these next batch of questions. Alright, cool, we got some coming in, good. Looks like some people are showing up, so that's good. Alright, from Danny. I mean, you can start with the page, Danny. I got sites that are all pages, and some that, a lot of them do have the normal one post and the rest pages. But I messed with like changing that date, and I didn't, notice any effect to it, Danny. That I did that testing about 6 months ago. I haven't tested it since, but when I changed the date from before, it didn't have any effect as far as rankings. It might have an effect as far as conversion. People seeing updated, a more up to date post, it could help. So from Susan. I mean, you can have your money sites on the same host, but you have to be careful with footprints, even with that, because even if you're like your PBNs, like if you're linking to like multiple money sites from the same PBN, then that PBN it will be linking out to two different sites that are on the same IP. Okay, so that's how you have to be careful there if you're linking to multiple money sites together, especially. Um, I personally like having my money sites on different IPs, or I'm sorry, different. Yeah, at least different IPs. They can be on the same host but different IPs. Um, but I even change up the host, from time to time, especially if they're in the same niche, and I'm going to be linking to them, just because I try to change up as much as I can. Like if you have a PBN, it's linking to three sites on different IPs, but they're all the same host. That could be a little fishy. It's probably not something that they're red flagging, but just in case, I try to be as safe as possible with that. And again, if they're in the same niche, I even try to use different hosts if I'm going to be linking to them together, and I know I will. Alright, so that's the same question from Ganesh. Yes, yeah, that is fine to do, Ganesh. Oh, cool. I'm glad you like it, Ganesh. Are drop downs a no-no for ranking? I mean, they're not necessarily a no-no, but Network Empires told us that they bleed page rank, which can basically, when it comes down to it, it can make your site a little weaker. I mean, I've used them in the past. I don't worry about that too much, but I mean, if you can style it correctly without drop downs, I would do it. Just because the advice from our friends at Network Empire, they know what they're talking about with that. But I mean, it's not. I don't think it's like going to totally kill you. I used to use it on KLKS, and that site ranked great. Maybe it would have ranked a little better if I didn't use the drop downs. So from Thomas. I don't have experience with ranking a different language, Thomas, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. You can bring this up in the Facebook group. I'm not sure if you're. Are you saying you want to do a different language on your My City guide? I mean, I'm not totally sure if this is exactly what you're asking, but if I were to try to be ranking like a Spanish site and that was written in Spanish, I'd be sending it links from PBNs that I did in Spanish. Okay, so I mean, it would be the same thing, but for your Spanish stuff, you'd be using Spanish content to rank the Spanish money site. I mean, that's how I would approach it at least. But you can ask that in the Facebook group, and if that wasn't your exact question, you can add on that for me. From Roberto. Okay. Um. Yeah, I mean, we started with a few, and then just worked our way up. That site. I mean, within the first couple months, it was only doing like 25, $50 a day, and then it eventually built up over the next 6 months to like $1,000 a day. So yeah, I mean, just building your way up. Oh, you're welcome, Brent. Yeah, I mean, you can have two or three, and we talk about this in the videos, but just be careful linking to the same sites together over and over again. Anything that would create footprints. Like, if I'm linking, let's say I got like, let's say I got 5 PBNs, okay? PBN 1 through PBN 5. Alright. I wouldn't want to, like, or I'm sorry, Money Site 1 through Money Site 5. I wouldn't want to link to, like, Money Site 1, Money Site 2, Money Site 3. Money Site 1, Money Site 2, Money Site 3. Like, you wouldn't want to link to the same sites together time and time and time again. Maybe link to Money 1 and Money 2, and then link to Money 3 and Money 4, and then maybe link to Money 1 and Money 5. Like, try to mix it up, the different sites that you're linking to, and then maybe you're going to link to just Money 2. Then maybe you link to Money 1, Money 3, and Money 5. All right, and I don't do 3 that often, but I will throw it in there every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, it just depends. You don't want to keep doing the same pattern over and over. Like Money Site's 135, 135, 135. Like, you don't want to keep creating that pattern. From Ganesh. I've talked about this before. Like, general PBNs are still working. Like, you can do a general PBN about all different topics, and it's still going to work. But the way Google's moving, we just want to move away from that. So, I mean, the closer you theme the PBN, I think the more safe it is for the long run. But again, general PBNs are still working totally fine. So, I mean, you can go as irrelevant as you want across the other sites. It's just, the more sites you link to on a PBN, the more dangerous it gets. I mean, if you're covering all your footprints, it's not even, I shouldn't even say dangerous, I don't want to scare anyone, but just the more risk you're putting yourself in, alright? And same thing with the theming, the more you theme it, the less risk. The less you theme it, the more risk. From Ganesh. I don't think there's going to be a different Facebook group. I could be wrong. It's mostly just about the crazy coaching and content you're going to be getting from, like Cotton and Russell and Sue and Jimmy and Joe Marfaglio. From Susan. With the OMG Command Center, the main thing that I'm using is the backlink checker. It makes looking at PBNs, I mean, it saves me so much time. I mean, hours and hours and hours a week. So that's the main tool that I use with it. I still have OSC and Register Compass personally. Just because, I mean, it's not that big of an expense for me, and I'm just used to using them. So, I mean, I think it depends on your budget and just what you're comfortable with. I haven't, like, gone that far into trying to make that switch. I probably could. But, again, the main thing that I use is that backlink checker, and for me, that tool is invaluable. And I think it is for anyone else, too, just because it gives you so much information about the PBN. You don't have to bring up each link individually. You can see everything on one screen very quick. You push a button and all the information will be there for you within a few minutes. So, I mean, that tool alone, I would literally pay $500 a month for. At least. I'll probably pay $1,000 a month for. It saves me so much time. And, of course, all the other tools in there as well. From Susan. I'm sorry, I just answered that. From Roberto. Alright, so Roberto says PM Armando Sanez about multi-language sites. Supposedly he knows about it. From Rob S. Off-page stuff. I mean, off-page stuff is mostly the linking, Rob. And that's going to be, social signals are great for that. Like, Web 2.0 stuff, social. And then for your backlinking, it's the same thing that we always done, except you don't want to be as crazy with the keyword optimized anchor text. Before we would link to a video and we would do Nashville SEO, Nashville SEO services, SEO in Nashville, search engine optimization, Nashville, stuff like that. Whereas now you want to do more of the stringing technique I talk about in the members area, where you might do, search engine optimization by itself, like the general category, SEO company, and then you can mix in stuff like Nashville SEO firm, and then maybe marketing, just by itself, and then marketing services, even stuff like visit the website, stuff like that. So you want to, and then maybe we'd go to like Nashville SEO, and then mix in other general stuff, maybe Tennessee marketing companies. So I'm not doing like Nashville SEO this, Nashville SEO that, Nashville SEO this. You want to kind of mix it up more with your anchor text down, because before you could go after all keyword optimized for high domain authority. Now they've kind of cut down on that, so you want to be a little more careful. If now this is, I would say do this way if you are doing something like GSA, like kind of lower quality links. If you're doing higher quality links like PBNs, you could actually be more aggressive with your keyword optimized. So I'd probably start, if I was doing like a PBN, I'd do like Nashville SEO company, and then maybe like SEO services by itself, and then maybe SEO in Nashville, and then maybe marketing firm. Maybe I'd go like back and forth like that, where it's like every other is kind of like a location or a keyword based. It'd be a lot more aggressive if they're PBN links. Whereas if you're using GSA, be very careful. You don't use that many of this type of stuff. I mean, that's the way that I would approach it, at least. That's the way I do when I'm using PBNs. From Danny. I think by footer, do you mean links to your own site? I mean, I know that footer links are considered the, I don't use them that much, but Jimmy has told me that they are the least powerful, and I think they're also looked at as like, I don't want to say spammy, but if there is like a spam level, they'd be like the highest level, like the highest risk level. So I know we don't personally use footer links. Any type of interlinking I would just do in the content, or if you have a silo set up. Yeah, I think you're talking about on page. So yeah, I would either just do it on the content or in a as a silo. I wouldn't necessarily put them in the footer. From Rob. I mean, I think that depends on what type of project it is, Rob. If it's like a very important client or an affiliate site you're going to be putting a lot of time in, put a lot of time into it. Make them as good as you can. But if it's something that's maybe it's a client that's only paying you $500 a month, just maybe something that's not as important, or it's like an affiliate site that you're not really worried about, but you at least want to get some social going. Get them going. Just get them going a little bit. So I mean, I think it really depends on the scope of the project and how important the project is to you. From David. No, not necessarily, David. I mean, I'm not gonna throw. If a site's gonna need 30 links, I'm not gonna do it all in one day. I'm gonna spread them out, because I mean, if you spread it out, they can't really hit you for link velocity. If you need 30 links and you do them over, a couple months, the link velocity going from a link every other day to no links or virtually no links, maybe you would start adding a link maybe once a week for another month and then drop it off. That's not really that big of a negative link velocity. Whereas if you're doing 10 links a day for 3 days and then all of a sudden you stop, that's a lot more of a negative drop. And even in that case, I don't think that would hurt you, because You got to look at it from perspective of an algorithm where they base things off probability. And I mean, the probability of a site getting 10 links for 3 days in a row than none is actually not that low, because maybe it was getting talked about somewhere on the web and it was popular for 3 days. That's not really like a huge drop off. Whereas, if you're like spamming, I think this is more with like the link velocity. I'd be more worried about with like spam links. If you're doing 100 links a day, with GSA, let's say 300 a day, then all of a sudden you stop GSA and you go from 300 a day to none a day. That I think would be a lot more of a problem. So with PBNs, I actually don't even really worry about link velocity that much, just because it's so you don't need as many, and the drop off's never really going to be that big. All right, from Rob S. I mean, I don't worry about it too much, Rob. I do use Social Explosion on mine. If you're someone that's on a budget and you want to use it, you can set it all to low. You can set duration and frequency to low, and it won't use nearly as many credits. But I mean, for what Social Explosion does, it's very cheap. It's going to power up the PBN more. It's going to index it quicker. I love using it on my PBNs. I think it works very well. From Danny. I don't think there's necessarily any risk of that, Danny. But at the same time, if they're keeping their rankings, you might just want to leave them in place just in case. I don't think any problems would arise from that. I've never had a problems arise from changing hosting as far as rankings go. But I mean, if they're ranking and they're staying in place, you might not have any reason to change them. From Ganesh. I mean, I'm not a client expert, Ganesh, but I really like the My City SEO, My City Guide style with SEO on there, because when you rank for an SEO term like Nashville SEO, not only do people come to you, but you have that proof already. They already know that you know what you're doing, because that's how they found you. So I mean, I think that's my favorite way. And then from there, there's all types of stuff that you can do with clients to ramp it up. But I mean, I think that's a great way to get your foot in the door with people, is the My City SEO stuff. From Carol. Yeah, sorry about that, Carol. Again, if you have any questions um, that weren't answered because of the time change, just Facebook me. From Ganesh. And Facebook me by today, because we'll have the replay up by tomorrow. No, I mean, you're right on this, Ganesh. If you use the anchor text find best dentist in Dallas, um, that's going to help you rank well for that keyword. But you also have to make sure that these words are on the page in your content. As I talked about earlier, that's gotten a lot more important over the last couple months. Whereas before, if you had just the keywords in your anchor text and your title URL, you were ranking no matter what was on your page. But now they changed that, where you have to have the keywords on the page as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, like if you use that for your anchor text, you would rank well for that keyword generally. From Thomas. Yeah, I don't have experience with that, Thomas. I would message the person that someone mentioned before. See if they know about that. But yeah, I mean, if I was doing it, I would probably link to English content, Spanish to Spanish for the most part, at least. But again, I don't have never done that, so I don't know for sure. But if I was like to start a project, that's what I would do. If I were to start a project like that. But again, you can bring that up in the Facebook group, see if anyone has had experience with that. From Coco. I'm not sure what you mean by mixing up the order, Coco. I mean, when it comes down to it, what you gotta know is the more money sites you link to from a PBN, the more risk. Because if something happens to those PBNs, that's more money sites that are going to be affected. So, I mean, I've been linking to less and less money sites from PBNs in the last month. But again, I'm not going to link to money sites 1, 2, and 3 over and over and over again from PBN after PBN. If I have 5 money sites on the same topic, on PBN 1, I might link to money sites 1 and 2. PBN 2, I might link to 3 and 4. PBN 3, I might link to just 5. Okay, so now I've linked to all my PBNs, or I'm sorry, all my money sites, and I've linked to 1 and 2 together and 3 and 4 together. So moving forward, I'm going to try to not to link 1 and 2 together on the same PBN and 3 and 4 together on the same PBN, at least not for a while. Okay, so when I move to PBN 4, maybe I'll do 1 and 3 together, money site 1 and 3, because I haven't done those two together yet. All right, and then the next one maybe I'll do 2 and 4. Next one maybe I'll do 1 and 5. So I just try not to do the link to the same. I try not to link to the same money site together too many times. I try to do it as little as possible. From Aaron. For looking at other URLs? What do you mean by other URLs, Aaron? I think you mean to like analyze sites. I mean, you can use like the free versions of like Ahrefs, but it's going to give you limited content, obviously. But if that's what you're talking about. From Rob. Try to Google list of Web 2.0 blog sites. Let me see if I can find anything really quick. I got about 10-15 minutes till I gotta run and get my son. Now you can type that in. Here's a whole bunch of stuff on it right here. So I would just go and type that in, and you'll find a whole list. It's taking a little long to load for some reason. Here we go. Here's a whole bunch of them here. But yeah, just type that in, list of Web 2.0 blog sites. I would just link once, Brent. No need to link to the same URL more than once from a PBN. From Aaron. Yeah, I would go through the blueprint and the orientation section, Aaron. Go through the orientation section first. David kind of helps direct you, and then from there you can use the blueprint. They got an appendix in there for like common used terms that might not be familiar with you, stuff like that. From Cliff. I'm not sure, Cliff. It might mean it's not indexed yet. That would be my guess, but I'm not positive on that. From Rob. I mean, when you register a site, when you pay for it, you can either turn on privacy or you buy it, and then as soon as you go in, you would have to change the contact information under the domain. You'd go click on the domain, go to contact information, then you'd change all the information in there. You're just gonna have to verify it by email. From Ganesh. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I mean it's okay to do Ganesh again. I've seen people linking to tons of money sites on a PBN and it's working for them, but as you mentioned, the less posts you have, the safer. The less links going out. From Coco. You're welcome. From Cliff. I mean, not that I know of, Cliff. I would have to kind of look into it. Might want to try sending some social signals to it, and see if that helps it out. I have been noticing some 2.0s taking a little longer to index. It might have to do with like a trust factor. So I would try to send social signals to it and see if that helps you out. So he's got one more in from Rob. Yeah, I mean, if you want to boost the page authority, or if you want to get the page authority up, you have to, do like send links to it or social signals, all that type of stuff. Even though Web 2.0s have high domain authority, the page authority always starts at 1. Unless you have stuff going to that Web 2.0 page property, then the page authority is going to stay at 1, even though the domain authority is at 100. All right. So I mean, yeah, if you want to raise the page authority, you gotta boost that Web 2.0. If you guys got any last questions, go ahead and throw them in now. I gotta leave in a few minutes to get my son. It looks like we're running out of questions, so that's at least everyone's getting their questions answered. Yeah, so from what I hear, you can actually use this on local sites, but it won't work with like affiliate sites. And the reason for that, I believe, is something like like Yellow Pages. If they if that's something that they smack, then Yellow Pages will get smacked. And they don't want that because Yellow Pages is such a big trusted site. But supposedly, yeah, you can use like the same content and just change up certain stuff per location and be fine with it. I've never done it myself, but people who are close to me who have done it say it works fine still, and it works with local. All right, if you're just like changing up location but using the same content, but that's something you can bring up in the Facebook group as well. I'd be interested to see that conversation. I haven't heard it talked about in a couple months, so I'd be interested to see anyone that is using that still. All right, so we got a couple more here. got that one from Rob. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I let them get found naturally, Rob. Except that I use Social Explosion on my PBNs because it gets social signals going to them, which helps with indexing quicker and helps power up that PBN, helps it look more natural. If you got people supposedly talking about that site. So I mean, that's pretty much what I do is use Social Explosion when doing my PBNs to get them found quicker. So let's see if we got any final ones here. No, it looks like that's it. Anyone else really quick? Last questions? Good. Alright, yeah, again, guys, sorry for being late, or for putting in the wrong time on my reminder. If there's something that didn't get answered because of my mistake, Facebook me by today, and I'll get back to you by tomorrow or so. By tonight, most likely. I just want to say tomorrow just in case I don't get back tonight for some reason. Alright, I just want to make sure everyone's taken care of, especially since it was my mistake. Alright, everyone, thank you for coming, and I will see you on the next one.